A couple of years ago, I was struggling to get clients with my agency, and I really couldn't charge any more than $1,000 per month retainers. And now I get paid between $6,000 to $12,000 for upfront builds before even lifting a finger for service delivery. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact moment that it all changed for me. Okay, so back when I launched my agency, I did what everybody else did. I thought I have to close monthly retainers in order to give myself some sort of consistent cash flow, on a regular basis. And I tried to find as many clients as I possibly could, which ended up with me basically begging them to work with me, them saying no, leading to rejection, and then me having to lower my price. So it all started with the retainer, which led to rejection, which led to lowering my price. And this nasty, vicious cycle continued until I basically got to a point where I thought, do you know what? I don't think this agency game is for me. I was stressed, I was miserable, I hated the work, and I just wasn't earning enough money. Okay, but there was a turning point. And that turning point for me came early on. It was a Monday morning, I remember. I'd had the weekend off and I'd woken up and started work, and the problem hit me. And reality was, I knew what the problem was deep down. And the problem was that I sounded like every other agency owner. Okay, I realized deep down, and I was in a niche that was heavily saturated at the time and still is in e-com. I realized that I really was no different to anybody else. And in order to compete, I was having to lower my prices, which led to a lower perceived value of myself in the marketplace, where I was basically operating in this arena where nobody respected me, didn't respect myself, and really I hated what I was doing. Okay, so I had the same offer, I had the same service, I had the same, guarantees. And ultimately, I was just being seen the same as all of the thousands of other agency owners out there. And I remember distinctly because I just pitched another £500 per month retainer to a client I knew wasn't interested, and I knew frankly couldn't afford to pay me. And I just thought, I've had enough. This is enough for me. Okay, I don't want to compete for the scraps. I have to find an alternative way of doing business so that I can actually make some money and enjoy what I'm doing. Okay. And this is where this monumental shift came into play for me. And I'm going to talk you through that shift very clearly right now so that you can do the same. If you're sat there begging for clients, I'm going to show you how you can become respected. Okay. And instead of competing with other agency owners, I'm going to show you what I was able to do, which was basically surpass all of the competition and operate in my own blue ocean, separate to everybody else. Okay. And here's what I did. So instead of forcing my clients into long-term rigid contracts that they didn't want to enter into, where I have to draw out all of the work in order to give myself some sort of monthly, projected cash flow, I thought, why not scrap these rigid agreements that nobody likes? And why don't I just provide everything for the clients that other agency owners are going to try and deliver over a 6, 9, 12-month period? Why don't I just deliver that overnight? Give it to the client without contracts, they can own it for life, and they can work with me on an ongoing basis if they choose to. And I thought that was going to be a much more valuable offer from the client's perspective. Okay, it might not in the first instance give me that monthly consistent cash flow. That was my own kind of perceived bias at the time. But I knew at the time that was going to be much more valuable to the client. And so that's what I did. So instead of locking my clients into some drawn out, annual or monthly retainer that they didn't want to be locked into, I thought, why don't I deliver a system for them that will future-proof their business forever, and they get it within 24 hours. And this small change enabled me to achieve two things instantly. Okay. Number one, it enabled me to charge significantly upfront, which eradicated the need for me to have this low perceived projected monthly income going forward. And number two, it made my offer incomparable to all the thousands of other agency owners with the same offers in the marketplace at the time. Okay, and this is where this new model really came into play for me. Okay, so most agencies will fluff their contract. Okay, and as you can see here, you've got month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, and so on and so forth. And what most agency owners will do is they will fluff their agreements and their contracts, they will bulk out their service delivery, and they'll try and spread it over a longer period as possible to try and give themselves some sort of perceived, risk reversal, cash flow projection, security. And the issue with this is that ultimately, if your client doesn't want to pay you, then they're not going to pay you. Okay, you might work with them for 3 months, but have a contract for 6 months. They might decide after 3 months, I'm not going to work with you, and then you're going to be sat there, and unless you have millions in the bank, you're not going to be able to fight them on it. Okay. So when it comes down to this old way of operating, I realized that in order to compete, instead of doing this over the same time period, I'm actually going to do it all together. And I'm going to do it overnight. So 12 months very quickly became 24 hours. All right. And the reason that was so valuable and why the offer stood out was because of kind of 3 things. All right. So we were promising our clients that we would do in 24 hours what their marketing agency would oftentimes overpromise yet fail to deliver between 9 to 12 months. They get to own it in totality, and we'll never lock them into a monthly contract. And what I found was it actually became 100% easier to charge retainers on the back end once we had delivered on our promise and subsequently gained a huge amount of trust on the front end. So it became easy for us to charge $6,000 was the starting fee. I think we had one client we did a split bill for, and that was the lowest we went to. And then it's taken us up to these values here that you see on the screen. So we were ultimately, our offer at the time was guaranteeing clients a fully built system delivered overnight that would increase their monthly sales by anywhere between 60 to 220,000 for a mere 10% of just 1 month's revenue that they were generating as a business. Okay, and I remember the first time I pitched it, and I'm going to tell you the framework here because it's very simple and easy to get your head around. And once you do, you're going to transform how you earn money with your agency. Okay, so I wasn't even nervous at the point of pitching this, going from $500 to $1,000 per month retainers to pitching $6,000 up front. It seemed crazy, but I was so desperate to change my life at the time. I wasn't really overwhelmed by the feat. Ultimately, I was going to do a video sales call with a prospect, and if it didn't work out, but I was going to take a risk, take a punt, okay? And ultimately, the client said yes. So we delivered on that promise. And the day after, I remember the client asked us if they could basically continue working with us. So they said to us, we've got all the flows, we've got all the automations, but on an ongoing basis, would you run our campaigns for us? And the answer was obviously yes, okay? And since then, I found that actually securing monthly retainers on the back end is 100% easier than it is to try and do it on the front end before front loading all the value that you gain through the delivery of an instant build, okay? Now, there's 3 steps to making this framework work. Okay, I don't know what I've done there. Number 1 is to productize. Okay, so what that means is finding a way to roll your current service delivery vehicle, the model that you run and how you do your work, into an upfront system. Okay, so it can be a combination of automations, pre-built systems, SOPs, whatever it might be. Front load it into something that you can deliver up front instead of stretching the build out. For us, instead of delivering 1 flow a month or 3 campaigns a month or 2 templates a month, we delivered everything that brand would need overnight in order to future-proof their business, and they wouldn't have to use us on an ongoing basis to run the system. Okay, that's when we start realizing the value in something like this. Okay, now we have ultimately built the system using AI, and we have an element of customization on the back end, around 5 to 10% of each build, that helps us apply it to each brand in any niche, in any vertical. Okay, and we've done it for hundreds of existing brands to date. Now, number 2 is you've got to charge up front. Okay, now in order to actually have some sort of credibility, clients will expect you to charge them, okay, unless you are a charity. Now, you might think that working for free is a way to build trust. It's not. All business owners who run legitimate businesses will not work with people who are willing to work for free, okay? It shows red flags. It signals that you don't value what you do, okay? And it alerts them to a risk factor that they're not alerted to if you charge them significantly upfront, okay? So for this type of offer, you have to get charged. You have to get paid upfront, okay? And that's going to eradicate a huge amount of risk for you. Imagine you've got $6,000 deposited into your bank account before you even onboard the client and start doing work for them. There's no risk of you carrying out work for them and not getting paid, okay? It's very, very different to the old ways of, running an agency and doing business, okay? And the third point here is to fulfill on your promises. Now, I can't, emphasize this strongly enough. You have to follow through with what you promise. So do not overpromise and underdeliver. That is the disease of every average agency owner, where they will promise the world and actually fail to deliver, half of their promise. Okay. So Failure to do that means you won't build trust, and not building trust means the client won't trust you and they won't continue working and paying with you. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, when it comes to this kind of pivotal, monumental shift, what you have to get your head around is that you're not struggling right now because you are bad. You're struggling because you are making your clients wait in order to feel value. Okay, so you have to have value up front in order to have a high perceived value in the marketplace where you can actually command fees like this. Okay, so if you want to charge clients 6 to 12K up front before lifting a finger for service delivery, then this is a monumental shift that you have to go through. And the moment I stopped dragging out work and started delivering on a rapid transformation was the moment that everything changed for me. Okay, I became the safest option in the marketplace with an offer that nobody else had, as opposed to just being another risky agency owner that was probably going to underdeliver on their promises. Okay, now I've helped hundreds of agency owners do the same thing, productize their service using AI. And typically what I found is the guys that don't follow a blueprint or our blueprint is that they're going to waste 6 to 9 months of guesswork before they run out of funds and run out of energy and eventually give up. Okay, so if you want to cut the learning curve and if you want to buy back time and avoid failure, then click the link below. The link's going to take you through to a calendar where you can book a call with myself or a member of my sales team. And what we're going to do on that call is take you through a no pressure process that you can implement in your business, whether you work with us or not, to do exactly the same. Okay, so if you want to go from $1,000 per month retainers to charging 6K to 12K upfront for full system builds, click the link below and I'll walk you through it on a call. Until next time, cheers.